Welcome to Apex Noire. You are standing in Boston's first 7-story, full-service, experiential cannabis dispensary. We have an edible factory in the basement, and we are the only one in the world to be topped and crowned with a rooftop bar that has a glass retractable roof. Come on in and see how we make it happen and the magic of Apex Noire. Right here, we are on our first floor, and if Terrence back there helping, can I get you to exit that direction, my brother? On this floor, if you order online, you're really busy, you go to apexnoire.com, like, hey, let me go ahead and order online. All of the things that you need will be waiting here for you. Now, if you have a little bit more time, come on up and let me show you our second floor of our retail space. As you can see, we have way more space to queue up here. And we actually are in a space that used to be a sushi restaurant. We actually were able to salvage most of what is actually was actually going on there. So we had a lot of fun putting this space together. As you can see with the ceiling, we have reclaimed wood. And in fact, this building was originally built in 1799 and actually used to be the home to the British Embassy. The building was originally 4 stories, and then the current owner added an additional 3 stories to the space. So what we offer here is our staff is very highly trained. A lot of folks call people bud tenders. What these folks do is not only bud tending, we actually call them cannabis concierges. And so they're actually trained to not only sell what we have on our shelves, but actually to ask our guests what their desired outcome is, what they want to feel, and also how they normally would take their cannabis. So they're really here to guide folks towards where they need to go. And they get additional training for that. And so we are absolutely, we take a great deal of pride in our staff. And I put my staff up against any dispensary staff in the whole country. Come on, let me show you a little bit more. My father he's an entrepreneur also. He had a recycling and rubbish company, and he cleaned out buildings on State Street. So it means a great deal for me to be on State Street and continuing in being an entrepreneur here. That's my honorary degree from University of New Hampshire. That's the greatest college university in the whole world. This is a picture of one of my mentors who just passed, named John Walsh. One of the reasons why I was in government, actually government office or appointed office, and a couple of other awards. So guys, I'm bringing you in this little sneak peek. We haven't completely opened yet, but where we are is the 7th floor. I believe the most beautiful crown of a cannabis dispensary in the whole world. And I have some secrets for you guys. So come on over. So we actually were able to purchase a liquor license for this space. So this is gonna be a bar and lounge, and it is the coolest one, kind of like a transformer. We have an amazing space that transforms and allows for you to enjoy all of Boston. Right across the street is the historic Custom House. Literally, the boats used to pull up and tie off on that building, and that actually was waterfront property because that was U.S. Customs. And through the 50s, this was actually the tallest building in the city of Boston. So we talked to immigrants who came in prior to that. They would come in, and this is what they would see as a beacon in the city of Boston. But I have another really cool thing to show you guys that you probably have never ever seen in Boston. Give me 1 second. So what you are hearing right now is the top of our roof becoming a convertible. We have an amazing and beautiful glass retractable roof. that retracts all the way back and allows the roof to open up into the sky for you to fully appreciate the amazing beauty and history of the city of Boston, and for you to have the absolute best time, bar none, in comparison to any other place in Boston, and that's why we call ourselves Apex. You can see the Board of Trade building on the right, which is very beautiful, and then on the left, the historic Custom House. That tower was built between 1911 and 1914, and in fact they broke the rules at that point. There were still rules around how tall a building could be, and the rebels up here broke the rules and made the building taller. And it is a beautiful, beautiful section of the city of Boston, and a piece of history here. And at Apex Noire, we are making history. In many ways, we are a first. We are the first Black-owned business in downtown Boston, which I'm very proud of. We are also the first Black-owned liquor license in this area. And we actually are only one of 13 Black-owned liquor licenses out of 1,400 people who own licenses in the city of Boston. So we are really, really happy and just elevated to be here. Just like downstairs, this has the word Apex in it. We actually put that word in it because it is our objective to be the top and on the pinnacle of customer service, and also the offerings that we have for those individuals who come to either Apex Noire Cannabis or Apex Bar and Lounge. And Apex Noire, the noir part, noir means black in French, but also makes us not forget about where we came from, knowing that people were disproportionately affected by the war on drugs, and that as we do this work, that we make sure that we pay homage, but also that we make sure those who got locked up don't get locked out of the industry, and that we still give those folks a chance. So we actually affirmatively hire people with a CORI or a criminal record, and about 25% of our staff actually come with what I would refer to as transferable skills and prior experience. And they're the hardest working, most knowledgeable, thoughtful, and warm people that we have. And you won't be able to make any distinctions because all of our folks are wonderful. So we're really, really proud of the work that we've been able to do. And we can't wait for you to come and hang out with us, have a beverage with us, and also when you go downstairs to elevate yourselves with us.
Hey guys, Montel here, and welcome to this edition of Let's Be Blunt with Montel. And before I go into the show, this is an incredible location that we're at. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it in a second. But I want to make sure that we kind of keep you up to date on what's been going on with cannabis, and really maybe even at the federal level. And what am I talking about? In the last couple of weeks, there has been multiple contradictory, what do you want to call them, initiatives, movement on the federal front that I think we all need to really stop for a second, pay attention to, recognize that this is happening, and try to figure out a strategy to demand of those running for office right now that some serious changes are made to cannabis legislation across the entire nation. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that, I think it was 3.5 weeks ago, and it might have been more like 4, so don't quote me on the exact date. But about 4 weeks ago, I remember reading an article that the Senate had almost unanimously passed a resolution that would allow VA doctors to write prescriptions for cannabis for veterans in states that have medical cannabis initiatives that have been voted on by either the public or, have been legislated in. But if you're in a legal cannabis state, the Senate had agreed that it would be okay, because there's a moratorium on it right this minute, for any VA doctor to write a recommendation for cannabis for any of our veterans. So this resolution passed by the Senate. It didn't pass in the Congress, so it hasn't been done yet. But it just tells you the psyche and the thinking for a second of a clear government that has maybe two brain cells, and they're fighting with each other at the same time. Because one of the brain cells just said, we believe that an accredited government agency should have the ability to write a recommendation for cannabis. That's the United States Senate. So that's telling me that somebody in the Senate is starting to change their mind. They're starting to recognize the fact that there has been enough research done and enough anecdotes done that they're no longer anecdotes. They are viable, real world, experiential studies that are saying that cannabis helps affect people who have PTSD and other ailments and other illnesses, and people who actually are taking multiple painkillers. There is proof that for our veterans that some of them have found relief in cannabis, and our Senate is trying to say it's okay. Let's make sure that the VA gets an opportunity to write the recommendations so that soldiers can have it. Then you stop and think for a second. Then about a week and a half ago, the DEA writes a letter to all the independent pharmacists in the state of Georgia, threatening them with some sort of retaliatory abuse if they were to distribute cannabis under Georgia's state law that allows for independent pharmacies to actually dispense cannabis. Because it's still an illegal drug. It's illegal because one group of buttheads in Washington, D.C. want to hold on to these draconian laws, but another group of buttheads finally got their heads out of there, you know what, and recognized the fact that cannabis works, so therefore we want to let our veterans have it, but not in the state of Georgia, at least not the way they want to administer or dispense it there. I want you to know about this. Do the study yourself. Look it up. And then if you are as ticked off as I am about the fact that how dare you open your mouth with bad information from a federal government standpoint, let's force them to try to get on the same page. The DEA should recognize all of the memos that have been passed and all of the legislation that's gone forward to stop them from utilizing money to fight the battle of cannabis. Then why are they trying to fight the battle of cannabis? We need to stop this madness. And we also need to stop the madness with the fact that, isn't it funny how in the last year or so, you keep hearing about these parties that these senators and congressmen have where they're all lighting up a spliff or somebody's passing out a gummy. Excuse me, you're using it yourself. And don't act like you're not. You're lying right there. Right? You just lied to your wife. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, you are. You know you are. So stop it. So anyway, I just wanted to make that point and hope that we can utilize this podcast. I love giving you great information. But at the same time, I want to make sure you are an activist. And it's time to stop the silly. Let's stop the stupid. Let's start getting rid of some of this old rules and regulations. Let's declassify and deschedule cannabis, period. Don't make it Schedule 3. I don't need another government organization involved in it. We know it's been around longer than we've been here. Excuse me. Let's just declassify it or schedule it. And if you want to bring it under, the FDA in a way that we oversee the purity, the quality we keep from hurting people, then I'm okay with that. But let's just get out of the realm that we've been in. Now it's time to really get busy and get started because I've been sitting here in a really beautiful, this is the craziest dispensary I think I've been in all of America. Folks, I've been in a lot. Oregon, Northern California, Southern California, Nevada, Arizona. I strolled in and out of dispensaries all over the country, and it wasn't until I came here today at Apex Noire, Boston's first Black-owned dispensary in the nation's first seven-floor experiential cannabis destination. I'm talking about, and I'm talking with the CEO and founder of Apex Noire, a former Boston City Councilor who proudly serves on boards of several organizations in the community, including the Boston Ballet, the City of Boston's Black Men and Boys Commission, the Global Citizens Circle, the University of New Hampshire Foundation Board. I'm talking about Mr. Tito Jackson. Come on now, all the way from downtown Boston. Look out this window. Yeah, I know you can see it. This is such a beautiful setting. I'm on the 7th floor. And I'm sorry, Tito, I got to say this, and don't get mad at me, brother, but I'm in Boston, folks. And it is a Friday afternoon, and I don't believe the temperature outside is above 31 degrees. Got up this morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, went to the gym. It was 24 degrees outside. There was frost on the car. The windows and the mirrors were so frosted we could barely drive to the gym. Got back, it was only like 28. And then we left to come here, it was 31. So I'm in this beautiful setting right here, and I know you can see it. These are bad windows, my brother. You did a great job with this.
Thank you so much. And the one thing I will say about the temperature is simply, at least it's not snowing. So
thank you. Thank you.
Because
I don't know if I'd be here if it was snow.
Listen, we can greet you, and actually, we could also snow enough in a day or two to make it so you can't leave. Oh, so we've been known to do that.
Please
so
no, they say there's a big storm coming. You know, like I tell you, before we get done, we've got to shoot this roof because I'm telling you, you got to see this. This whole thing opens up. So I'm on the 7th floor.
Yes.
Of a cannabis dispensary. Did y'all hear me? I said 7th floor.
Yes.
Of a cannabis dispensary. I defy many people to tell me that you've seen one bigger than 2 floors anywhere in America. So we're in downtown Boston, squeezed in between 2 big old
commercial buildings
that are at least, oh man, another 6 floors, 7 floors taller than you.
Yes.
Just stuck right in the middle of it.
Yep. And we're actually, this building, ironically, used to be the British Embassy.
Whoa.
It was built in 1799 and then upgraded in 2016, 17. So it used to be 4 floors, and now it's 7 floors, 10,000 square feet.
Wow.
And we actually have multiple uses here. So we have a dispensary. We have a 2-story dispensary, Apex Noire, Cannabis. In the basement, because this space, actually, the space that we're in, actually, if you can believe this, used to be a restaurant.
Wow.
And so be a really nice place to kind of hang out and eat. So in the basement is a commercial kitchen.
Wow.
Which we actually have a license and will be producing our own products and edibles.
And you will be able to utilize that kitchen for some infused dining events?
Yes. So we plan on being the first infused dining venue in the city of Boston. Boston has a beautiful history of food. As you can see, Montel, this is a multi-$1,000 figure. I just want to let you know there. And then the space that we're in right now, there used to be a liquor license attached to that restaurant. Okay. And so thankfully, because we actually have the whole building, we were actually able to purchase the liquor license. And I will also note, as you know, cannabis is a really difficult license to get, but in the city of Boston, a liquor license is actually very difficult to get. There's only 1,400 licenses, and Black people only own 13 of them. Wow. So we're one of 13 folks who own a liquor license in the city of Boston, and we are all in the same building.
Tito Jackson, look, let's stop for a second. Go back for a minute, because people, outside of Boston may not know who you are. But let's talk a little bit about your background. Let's start. Where'd you grow up? Are you a native of Massachusetts?
Yes, I am. And so, Montel, I am absolutely blessed. I was born April 11th, 1975. I joke with my mom because there was 7 rainy days before that. And I say, the clouds parted and the sun shone down, and then there was little baby Tito. My story, although that is not what happened. It was actually, it's a little bit more complex than that.
It wasn't like the whole neighborhood out in the street, standing on the big mountain going,
no, there wasn't no Lion King thing or any of that stuff that happened. It was a little bit more complex. And frankly, it's about just the term grace. I was born and stayed in the hospital for about 2.5 months.
Oh, my goodness.
Most people are sick when that happens. But in my case, I was actually waiting to meet my parents. I was given up for adoption at birth. And I was introduced to two amazing people, Herbert and Rosa Jackson, my mom had 3 kids in her first marriage. My dad had one child in his first marriage. So they had 4 kids, and they adopted me.
Wow.
And I was born to a 13-year-old mom, who I've actually gotten to meet her and my 2 brothers, in the last 4 years.
Congratulations.
So that's actually a new occurrence, and we should at some point talk about that.
Sure.
But my parents, I remind my siblings that I was chosen. Unlike them, they just had them. And so they kept on adopting also. So my parents actually adopted 4 children. So we grew up in the Roxbury section of the city of Boston. So I'm from, as we would note, the berry, but not the fruit. And then I ended up going to school in Brookline. And then I ended up going to HBCU called the University of New Hampshire.
Gotcha.
Some people don't consider that. Normally HBCU stands for a historically black college and university. In my case, we had 54 black students, so it was a historically blonde college and university that I attended.
Gotcha.
I had a wonderful time there, great experience, and we were able to make some changes there, and I actually was elected student body president. And when I graduated, I came back to Boston to work.
Wow. Now, what did you pursue as a college degree?
Interestingly, in the day and age that we live in now, I pursued one of the most controversial topics in the United States right now.
What's that?
History.
Gotcha.
Because
being banned all over America.
The truth is being banned.
There's a governor who believed that slavery was a trade school, I guess.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I actually concentrated in African American and women's history. So again, and it gave me an amazing base. Ironically, after college, though, I actually my first job was at Johnson & Johnson, and then my second job was at Eli Lilly. So I did pharmaceutical sales right out of college. Hey. Well, look at what I'm doing now. So at least I've been consistent, right? I've been consistent. So honestly, and I say this to a lot of young people, getting an undergrad in liberal arts allows you to know how to learn. And it gives you the basis to be able to learn anything. And I'll tell you, they gave me a free car, which is really awesome. They gave me a computer. They gave me a BlackBerry for the young people at the time. That was like an iPhone 19. Exactly.
It was the ancient one. It was the teletype version.
Right. And then they gave me this huge box. And I was like, okay, what's in the box? It said, those are your books. My first test was in Introduction to Microbiology. I had 1 week, and I had to get a 90 or higher. I had 100, so I worked my butt off, and I learned a lot. They spent a lot of time training us, and so I did really well at Johnson & Johnson as well as Eli Lilly.
Cool. And then you had a tenure as a Boston Councilor, right?
Yeah.
Now, talk a little bit about that. What made you decide to run for office?
Yeah, so I worked for the first black governor of the state of Massachusetts, Deval Patrick.
Okay.
Worked on his campaign. He was the first person I had supported in a partisan way. And I worked in getting people jobs, which made me feel really good. So I worked in recruiting companies. So I helped recruit Google here and Cisco Systems and Facebook and all of those folks here. And I worked in the Office of Business Development, which was basically selling the state, and got to bring thousands of jobs here. And what I saw in my neighborhood and community in the area that I grew up was a lot of poverty. And what people needed wasn't, they frankly just needed a hand up, and they needed an opportunity.
Sure.
And so for me, I actually ran in 2009. I came up a little short to one of my friends who you probably know, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So I just want to let y'all know, I like saying that now. I didn't like saying that before. When I caught that L, it kind of hurt.
Gotcha.
Shout out to, she's a great friend. Shout out to Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. But I then got to work on Governor Patrick's campaign as his political director, and then I re-ran. And I would also note, and I've heard your story, don't give up, guys. If I hadn't run the first time and lost, I would not have had the opportunity to come back and win. So it was a setup for not even a comeback. It was actually a bounce back. I was actually able to come in, and so I was a District 7 City Councilor. I represented Roxbury, South End, parts of Dorchester, parts of Fenway, and parts of Jamaica Plain, and most importantly, I was the chair of education.
Wow.
Which gave me a really great opportunity to build with a lot of young people. And the fight for the thing that transformed my life was getting an opportunity and an education. Right. And so I had a wonderful, wonderful time as a city councilor. And then in 2017, I ran for mayor.
Okay.
And I ran for mayor on the issues of disparity, which actually happens in cannabis, and that's actually how I got into cannabis. In 2016, I was the first elected official to back the legalization of cannabis. And the reason why I did it in the state of Massachusetts, which is 7% Black, if you had possession, you had a 300% higher chance of getting arrested if you're Black.
Yes.
700% higher chance of getting arrested for distribution if you were Black. So that is the reason why I supported it in 2016. And then in 2017, we really tried to deal with the issues of disparity in the city of Boston. The city of Boston is about 25% Black. But when we look at how much money folks have, the Federal Reserve did a report. It's called The Color of Wealth. Viewers can look it up. And it showed that the median net worth of a white family in Boston is $247,500. The median net worth of a Black family in the city of Boston, and mind you, net worth is how much you own minus how much you owe. And this probably even includes why you're here, Montel. The median net worth of a Black family in Boston is $8.
Wow.
So that really urged me to move forward. And, Boston's a great city, but it's not great for everybody.
Right.
We leave a whole lot of people behind. And then also this translates to life and death. And so the district that I represented, I had a pretty affluent area called Back Bay. I had a little piece of that. And then the neighborhood I live in is Roxbury, which is predominantly African-American neighborhood, 2 miles away. Montel, there's a 33-year difference in life expectancy.
Holy moly.
So if you live in Back Bay, you live to 91.9. But if you live in Roxbury, parts of it, you live to 58.9. Crazy. Lower than the life expectancy of Cambodia and Iraq. So that is really what I ran on. I ran against an incumbent who actually ended up being appointed by the Biden administration as labor secretary. His name is Marty Walsh, friend of mine. But we ran a spirited race. I came in second. And I believe a lot of the issues that I wanted to get heard got heard. And that leads us up to Apex Noire and how I got into the cannabis space.
Crazy. Now, we're at the same time as happening, you just said you were going to tell me a little bit about you finding your birth mother.
Yeah.
Why don't you do that now? Then we'll go into Apex Noire.
Okay. Don't y'all have tissue in? Okay. Y'all gonna make a brother. Okay. So Montel, after I ran for office, I felt something in my spirit that said I have to do this now. Right. When I was 19 at UNH, one of my doctors said, "Hey, I know Boston and state of Massachusetts has a closed adoption, but and by the way, closed adoption means each of the individuals are not allowed to find out who the other is without permission." So. And I said, let me go ahead and do this. So I applied at the Home for Little Wanderers, and I waited about a month. And you know what? The funniest part and the most ironic part, I thought you were going to show up. I thought Montel was going to knock on the door and was like, "Hey, Tito, we found your mom." I thought where were you at, man? Where were you at?
Dude, I wish I knew the story. I would have done so.
Okay, cool. So they called Montel. I was just in my office alone, and they said, "Hey, we found your mom. She just, we were just on the phone with her. Here goes her number. Her name is Rachel." So I know me, and I know myself, and if I didn't pick up the phone right then, it'd have been sitting there for like 6 months as I just put it through my head. So I picked up the phone immediately, and this woman screamed
Wow.
And she said, I've been looking for you.
Oh, my Lord.
I've been looking for you for so long. I was 13 years old and I was assaulted.
Oh, Lord.
And my mom trafficked me. And that's how I got pregnant. And I was pregnant during desegregation. So she was pregnant during buses moving through the city of Boston that were getting rocks thrown at them. And so she also said, do you know the book Common Ground, which is a Boston-based book about desegregation? I said, I'm a history major, sociology minor. I've read it like 5 or 6 times. She said, your birth is in that book.
Oh, Lord.
So I literally was at college reading about myself.
Oh, my goodness.
And in that book, in addition to my birth, there is a whole history back to slavery of my lineage because they spent 10 years writing that book.
Holy moly.
Fast forward 5 days later, we met each other for the first time. Mm-hmm. She's a little lady. She's 5'1".
Oh, my goodness.
My adopted mom, Rosa, so I call my adopted mom Rosa. I also call her mom, and then my Rachel, I call her Madre. Mm-hmm. Well, we met at a restaurant and was in the back room, and she screamed and she passed out for a little bit and then just had a stream of consciousness. Long story short, we found out that we both grew up going to the same church at the same time.
Oh, my goodness. You were in the church and she was there?
Yes, literally in Sunday school together. And then we also found out that in 2011, she had 3 boys after me. Her middle son at that time passed away. He got shot and killed. So she told her other son she had another son. So she went to City Hall to try to find a way to get the birth certificate.
That's crazy.
Long story short, they didn't give it to her because it was closed adoption. And long story even shorter, we were literally in the same building at the same time because I was a city councilor on the 5th floor while she was on the 1st floor.
So you're writing a book? When's the book getting written?
Okay.
Yeah, when's the book getting written? Because right now, I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of people who are like, holy moly, tell me how you did this. Or even just, a lot of other people out there that are feeling the same way. This is really the time.
So you putting it on me, I'm putting it on you. So you going to do the documentary with me?
Well, let's get the book done.
Okay.
Get the book done. Maybe we turn this into a story.
Unc is making me do my homework. I see. Right. I understand. I understand. I got you.
Get the book done, and I'm telling you, we might be able to get out here and do a deal on that.
Okay.
Try to. I'll get that done.
Okay. Y'all see, I got homework. It's video footage. It's documented that I have homework, so I'm gonna have to get to writing.
And you do know this is the kind of story that there is a linear line of what happened, but then there is that non-linear line of what happened in each different spot emotionally for you. That translates to the emotions that a lot of other people out there are afraid of having or wonder if it's worth having. So there's so much you could share in your story for so many other people who are trying to figure out whether or not, am I at the right spot in my life where I'm ready to make that decision?
And I want to, one last thing, I was able to help with a whole lot of other folks and organizations who pre-existed from me, but we were actually able to get the law changed, Montel. Mm-hmm. And so now in the state of Massachusetts, it's not a closed adoption state. So now, in particular, people who are listening who are from Massachusetts, you can go to the state register and you can get your original birth certificate.
Oh, my goodness.
Which I've done, Montel, I didn't have a name.
Got it. Was there a name on that original birth certificate?
No, I was baby boy Twyman.
Oh, my goodness.
I had, as elected officials, we tell the same daggone stories all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I was born in Boston City Hospital. I wasn't born I was born in Beth Israel Hospital.
Got it.
And it was just interesting to see. It was also dignifying and humanizing to get to see and have something that everybody else had, which is their original birth certificate.
That's incredible.
So huge shout out to Sean Garbley, who was the one of the main folks at the State House who pushed that through, as well as the coalition that made that happen.
Excellent. That that's now just. So if people want to reach out to you on that topic, where would they go?
Yep. So you guys can hit me up, Tito at Apex APEX as in Nancy OIRE.com. Or you can check out our website, apexnoire.com, APEXNOIRE.com, and there's a link there for you to be able to write. And I read the stuff on the other side.
And just so y'all know, don't be reaching out because you're trying to get through to Randy or to Michael or somebody else. Stop. This is Tito Jackson here in Boston.
The one in Boston, you actually might know the other brother. You probably have met the other brother in California. I do want to let y'all know because the other brother
they call him just, can you tell me something? No, I just I just want to make sure people know I'm talking to Tito Jackson of Boston.
In Boston.
Come on now,
I can dance though. I can dance.
Oh, come on now.
I can moonwalk. Dance. Okay. You know what? My moonwalk's not. I can do a flying split, but I can't do.
You do know you do a moonwalk in public. People see you do it. You owe the Jackson estate.
Okay, I won't do that.
Don't be doing that.
I won't do that. Okay, I appreciate that.
Somebody put you on video, throw that up on TikTok. Next thing you know, you're gonna get billed a couple $2 billion.
My man, I have some footage that might even be a little bit better, and then I also do want to challenge brother Tito Jackson to a dance off. I'm going on record.
Be careful now. Now so now what does this have to do with cannabis, folks? It has nothing to do with cannabis. This has to do with the fact that I was very interested in the brother's story, and that's what we had to do.
Awesome.
But now I'm also interested in the story of Apex Noire. First off, why did you pick that name?
So,
and before you even answer that question,
yes,
let's back up for a second. You did kind of throw it out there on the table, but didn't give any references behind it. I mean, where did the whole transition from an elected city council member?
What the council of the cannabis part?
Yeah,
politician to pot?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So the piece that kept on coming up as an elected official is people having good housing.
Yes.
A good job. And also individuals who had a Corey. And so for folks who don't know what that means, is those individuals who have a criminal offense record that generally sticks with them and prevents them from actually going to getting good jobs. All of those things really weighed on me as a city councilor. And so having the background in biotech, life science, pharmaceutical side, working in an FDA regulated environment. And then also, I also was part of a startup, shout out to my Silverlink friends, made me really think about starting my own company. And I had some opportunities early with some larger companies. I won't talk about them. You know a lot about it. Some of the large companies in this space, and frankly, how they attempt to get folk who look like us to do things that are not on the up and up. Sure. But it gave me an opportunity to start Apex Noire. And so Apex Noire, the name comes from the building. So there's multiple apexes on the building. And for those who don't know what apex means, it's the pinnacle. It's the top tier of. And that's absolutely the type of service that we provide. Many people have people who they call bud tenders. We don't call folks bud tenders. We have cannabis concierges. So they are here, highly trained, and they're there to get you to where you need to be, not only with what we have in the back of our store. And so, our folks are very, very highly trained and have a great deal of experience. The noir side is French, and it means black.
Got it.
And the reason why we put it in our name is because we don't want to forget where we came from.
Got it.
That people who look like you and I were disproportionately affected by this war, the war on drugs, went to jail, and some of them are still in prison.
And still getting arrested.
Still getting arrested. Over 140 folks in the state of Massachusetts still in prison for cannabis only. And so I never wanted to forget that. And so we put it in our name. In order to ensure that we continue to think about giving back, opening the doors of economic opportunity, and paying it forward for those individuals who were locked up. And so one of the things that we do is 20% of our workers have a Corey. It's actually a little bit over that. So we are affirming, open to folks having Corys. And we put that, and some folks are like, Tito, you shouldn't be putting that on, on your requisitions that are out there. No, this is a company that I founded, and I'm going to walk in the conviction that I had that got us here. And I would submit to you, this is also going to be one of the things that is going to help us to excel. These are some of the hardest, brightest, hardworking people that I've met in the industry, and they're kicking butt. And so we are also kicking butt here at Apex Noire Cannabis.
Yeah, let's now, again, I gave people kind of an overview, 7 stories, 7 floors.
Yes.
But let's back up. Ground floor, I've been through there.
Yes.
Beautiful. Looks incredible. But to go ahead and describe for somebody right now who's just listening,
Yeah.
maybe they're looking, go ahead and give me the tour of what this place looks like. Come on.
Yeah. So when you come in, bring your ID. We had a little issue with Montel because he, brother just turned 21, so he was trying to sneak in our spot. Had some issues, whatever. But we did get a ID. Our guy said it was real. It looked fake to me, but whatever. Okay, cool. So when you first get here, you will get carded, and you will then be let in to the first floor of Apex Noire. On the first floor, we've actually set it up for someone who's busy like you. You could actually go online to apexnoire.com. You could pre-order, and it would actually be waiting for you there.
Gotcha.
You don't have to go up any stairs. You go there, you show your ID, you pay. One of the things that we do a little bit different than some other spots, some people, if you order in advance, they don't let you add anything.
Got it.
I think that's ridiculous.
Sure.
And so if you want to add, if you forget your Betty's Eddies for sleeping, or actually if you forget any of your Montel products that we
inspired by Montel, by the way.
There we go. So very, very beautiful vapes. I love it. And so you'd grab those, and then you would actually go right outside, right back outside. On the second floor, we have a larger space, more queuing room, and then also we would again have that immersive consultative cell with our cannabis concierges. And then on the third floor. And actually, I didn't get to show you this. We actually have a whole floor for our staff that has a kitchen. It has a full bath. So some of our staff ride their bikes here. I know you think it's too cold, but people do ride their bikes here.
It would not be me. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
So and then our 4 and 5, we have a back of house, and then.
Back of house meaning all your storage,
all that stuff. Yeah, right. Yeah. And then
curing rooms and stuff.
Yeah, 6 and 7. So this is the 7th floor. Right under here is actually another business. It's actually called Apex Bar and Lounge.
Gotcha.
And so we actually have a liquor license in this space. We could have a beverage here. I don't want to spill anything on your stuff, so I'm not going to do that.
I'm with you.
Okay, yeah, well, we can. Okay, one time.
And that I got to tell you something. And from a national standpoint, I believe that several of the other states have basically written in their legislation that alcohol can't be served on the same premises. So
yes.
you kind of got away. I mean, they didn't get away. I shouldn't say that. No getting away.
It's legal. So this is a separate entity. When you go look up at the Secretary of State. And so that's how we were actually able to determine this. Because if you look at a dispensary in a multi-story building, there could be a dispensary, there could be multiple restaurants in that building and the like. And so we have this dispensary, and then we have an amazing a new dispensary also that is coming online. We will get our license this month from the Cannabis Control Commission in Massachusetts, knock on wood, hopefully. We are opening, and actually you will be very interested in this.
Sure.
We are opening a spot called Victory Gardens.
Okay.
And it is the first dispensary in the country at a VFW.
Come on now.
So I hope you're smelling what I'm cooking. And we are in a partnership with my very good friend, Jason Zuby. If you're in Boston, he is an amazing entrepreneur. He owns Boston Tattoo.
Wow.
I have not. I'm a little scared of needles.
I got 35 hours worth of tattoos on my body.
Okay. So that's cool. So between us, we have an average of 17.5 hours.
There you go.
Because
Yeah.
I'm getting there, Montel. I'm gonna get I tried to get a butterfly, but he wouldn't give me a butterfly.
You too big for a butterfly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. We probably wouldn't even see a butterfly, so that's all good. That one is actually in Medford, Mass.
Got it.
And it is like I said, in a VFW facility, and we're really happy that we were able to partner. We are the only equity company in Medford, but we also are able to partner with the veterans in that VFW. They are able to keep their facility, so they have their space that's still there, and then we get to support the amazing brothers and sisters and men and women who have served our country. So really, really excited about that. Huge parking lot too, and so we're probably going to be able to do really cool stuff, food trucks and all kind of other cool stuff that'll be there.
Now, if people wanted to keep track of this, where would they go? Where's your website? Tell them how to get find you, digits and all that stuff.
Definitely. So apexnoire.com, APEX, N as in Nancy, OIRE.com. Please and also sign up. We have a newsletter, so you can actually follow us, and we. Also, I do want to note, we are not only a cannabis dispensary, we really lean into experiences.
Got it.
And so
you and I are talking a couple of
let them know. So tomorrow, shameless plug, I'm leading a cooking class, and it's called Get Baked with Tito.
Got it.
And the tagline, it's so easy, even Tito can make it, because typically the only thing I cook annually is a fried turkey, which I'm very, very good at that, Montel.
Okay.
But we also
haven't burned a house down yet.
I have not burned that. Well, I do want to, I do want to say, in particular to the brothers who are out there, you should be chaperoned by a lady when you fry your first one, because dudes don't read directions.
Right.
So I just want to, that's how you blow up your crib. So make sure she is there.
You will blow up your crib.
You will definitely blow up your crib.
Make sure you're doing this outside.
And this year, I actually did an infused fried turkey.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
And how'd that work out for you?
Everybody was asleep by the time the football game was off.
Oh my goodness.
So I think we worked well.
What you wanted.
Yep. But one of the things that we also doing, we partner with an organization called Improv Asylum, which is right around the corner. They're Boston's largest and oldest improvisational organization, as well as training group. So we actually just did Bliss Bus, which was an elevated comedy trolley tour of the city of Boston.
Oh my goodness!
So you come, you get a gift card for $25 in your fee. You get your edibles. You come outside. You take your edibles and you go on the bus tour. And we have comedians who have really gnarly Boston accents who tell us about the city of Boston. We stop at Laugh Boston and we have pizza. And Montel, I do want to tell you that the last 45 minutes, a 90-minute thing, the last 45 minutes was a little bit funnier than the first, because the edibles had kicked
started
in.
to kick in.
So we have been doing, and in this space we also do yoga. I should say they do yoga.
Got it.
I have not done yoga, and then probably nobody wants to see me in yoga pants.
Is it infused yoga? Or
it is not infused, but they do get a discount on the way out.
Gotcha.
But we look forward someday, very soon, to being Boston's first infused restaurant.
Wow.
Because we have the facilities here. There's nothing. Bring it if you want to say you have a more beautiful space than this spot.
I have to agree with you. I'm telling you, the opening roof and and you have the opportunity to basically form a separate company on this top floor.
Okay, so you know what? I want to get some business advisory from. So we got Montel, and then and shout out to my friends at Freshly Baked too.
There you go, absolutely. Shout out to Freshly Baked,
because they have hooked up. And speaking of veterans too, my man Phil,
sure,
and his lovely wife.
Absolutely. Now you approach Apex Noire, for a little different perspective. Are you completely vertical? Do you grow your own product?
We don't, but we will be manufacturing our own.
You'll be manufacturing your own. So,
yeah.
but in that regard, right now you are fully stocked by other brands,
by other brands. And I would say, and again, shout out to Freshly Baked. We really try to lean into social equity companies.
Got it.
And I'd rather, so one, it's the right thing to do. They're like us. But the other piece is, instead of being a small guy in a huge pond, I also feel very seen, respected, and we can actually continue to grow one another's business. And so I actually met Phil well before I was in I shouldn't say in business, but actually open. Actually, when I met Phil, I had all black hair.
Oh, there you go.
Montel. And now I have a little, well, Frederick Douglass is from Boston. So I have a little Frederick Douglass. While we were waiting for this, I did get a text that asked me to be Santa Claus.
Uh-oh.
So I hope that is because of my beard.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's not because of your shape. So you've got to have some other goals. Yeah. I shouldn't say you got to, but I mean, I'm clear you are that type of person. Yes. So, I mean, what are your goals? What do you think about what's coming down the pike?
Definitely. So we are going to continue to expand. We will have 3 stores in the state of Massachusetts. But we really do want to take the Apex Noire model and across the country. And we actually are, what our slogan is we all rise together.
Sure.
And we mean that in every sense of the word. One of the things that we do with our staff is that we provide a financial literacy curriculum. We pay them to actually take those courses. So we don't only want to be the folks rising, and there's obviously the cannabis pun there. I've also helped open 4 other dispensaries that I don't actually have ownership in, but I just ended up helping other folks. So that's a critical component. And then in addition, we do want to help as many folks get into the industry as possible. At this point, there's less than 2% Black ownership in terms of cannabis ownership across the board. No, that's nationally.
Nationally, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's about 1.7%. So that's a critical component to be able to leave the door open behind us. And then, as you've done, I also do have a heart for making sure as we move forward with legalization, that we look at ensuring that disease states like PTSD, like fibromyalgia, and Crohn's, other disease states that we know that cannabis has activity in, that we actually ensure that individuals get the help that they need. And as I said, I was in the pharma industry. I'm recovering, but I was in the pharma industry. So I really do have a heart for ensuring that people are helped, and in particular, our veterans who, frankly, should have been the first people who had access, rather than continuing to be harassed at the federal level, as you noted in the beginning.
Absolutely. Talking to you, it all sounds like this has just been a piece of cake. However, we know that there have been multiple challenges along the way. Let's talk a little bit about what those challenges are.
This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Wade in the water, and all of the other spirituals that a brother had. So I just tell you, man, like surviving became winning.
Right.
At a point, it was like, okay, we're able to pay for the building for another month. We're able to pay this bill and pay that bill and the like. But I would say one of the things I do know is that I've been very blessed by the opportunity I've had, being able to be in elected office and the like. I also knew, Montel, that if I couldn't do it, and if I couldn't make it happen, there's so many other people who wouldn't be able to do it.
Sure.
And so there was, we had, so understand, in the state of Massachusetts, you have to identify a building first, make a deal with a landowner who doesn't have a mortgage on their building. So that's a subset of a subset because of the federal, because of 280E. One of the things that people don't realize is that if someone has a mortgage on their building, they will accelerate their mortgage, meaning that they would actually make them pay their whole building off. And so we have to find a smaller group of individuals who are willing to do it. And then they're really nice, but they're not going to do it for free.
Right.
And I'm not as handsome as you. I've been trying. Brother, I exfoliated last night, a little cucumber ginseng peel off mask, and I still didn't come up as handsome as you. But when it comes down to it, you have to do that, and then you're paying on a monthly basis. And then I will tell you transparently, we had 3 other locations and 3 other licenses before we got this space. So I feel really, really blessed for each and every individual who invested in me and the company, and the team that we were able to put together that's here. I would put my team up against anybody in the business relative to folks who are making it happen. So I feel really, really blessed to be able to be here. And my whole piece is to be able to pay that forward. And that's why we really do mean that we all rise together.
Sure, but now, had you thought through this 5-6 years ago, did you not think that by now things would have changed at the federal level, at the state level, making this easier? Doesn't it seem like all of a sudden this industry has just stagnated to a point of, from my perspective, disbelief? I mean, again, the bull crap that the DEA just pulled in Georgia shows you that for every 1 step forward, there's at least 10 steps back, because it's going to take a full year to get people to recognize that they're full of shit.
Yeah. So as a former elected official, what I realized early, and being someone who came out early, is that not every elected official is a profile in courage.
Right.
And for people to step forward and do something hard, something that's quote unquote risky, in this case, something that is technically illegal, requires a lot of courage.
The sky is falling. Look, the sky didn't fall.
It didn't fall. In addition, for those of our friends out there who are fiscally conservative, what I would submit to you, it makes a lot more damn sense to not lock somebody up for $55,000 a year for selling cannabis, versus what we have now in the state of Massachusetts. So get this. Cannabis brought in $240 million in tax revenue last year, more tax revenue than alcohol, more tax revenue than cranberries. So by the way, I don't know if you drink ocean spray, that there's a lot of that stuff that comes. So this is the number 1 cash crop in the state of Massachusetts. And
that reality just seems to just bounce off the heads of these deeply entrenched, ridiculous buttheads who should just get out of the way. Because the truth of the matter is, in 2021, cannabis sold legally in America $25 billion worth of product. And then, we
won't talk about that's the legal side, right?
In the black and the gray market, I don't know what they call the black market, but the black and the gray market, because we ain't got a big part of that. $75 billion worth of product, making cannabis, honestly, more sold than milk, than any energy drink in America today.
Red Bull, eat your heart out.
Yeah, all of them, eat your heart out. So it's ridiculous that out of that $25 billion, Uncle Sam was taking a large chunk of that, we're pulling that in from federal tax dollars, and that still has not convinced people. And like I said earlier, the liars keep claiming that they're not doing it, but you roll into a Washington D.C. party, and the pot smell is everywhere.
Well, I always like to say this is the only bipartisan issue.
Right.
Bipartisan
enough that if you remember on January 6th, the crowd that was just defiling our nation's capital, there was a lot of pot being smoked that day. Isn't that weird? How the only thing that brings the left and right together is marijuana.
That's it.
Go back, because it's the same thing that brought them together during the Civil War. Do you know that the only thing that North and South had in common, the uniforms were all made from hemp?
There we go. So
it's been a unifying product in America since day one.
I like to say the only people who smoke more weed than Democrats or Republicans. And so, we can actually, this used to be a snickering thing. Now it's real. to $250 million in the state of Massachusetts, nearly 30,000 people who are in this industry, people who are manufacturing amazing products like Inspire by Montel, and the folks at Freshly Baked, they got me with they got me putting on patches and stuff. Montel, but so there is essentially this beautiful new horizon that we can all be part of. And I feel grateful to be in the presence of greatness in this space, because you were there long before many, many folks. And again, when you're the only one,
right?
When you're early, you take the shots, you take the hits. There's the credibility components that go along with that. And I did have to in the beginning, because folks at my church, shout out to Union United Methodist Church, except there's one sister who told pastor on me, so I'm not gonna. What I love about my pastor, my pastor, she's like, you know what Tito's doing now? He's not in office. You know what he's doing? Those tweets. And so, love my pastor. He said marijuana comes from God's green earth.
Look, I'm so sorry, but I say it all the time. Most people don't even understand it. What did the three wise men show up to Mother Mary with? Incense, frankincense, and myrrh. What is frankincense? It's probably one of the closest plants to the cannabis plant on the African continent. So if it was good enough for the baby Jesus, excuse me.
So they sent Jesus a couple of ounces.
Let's go back for a second.
Okay.
Let's go back for a second. You go back 2,000 years. Lots of babies, especially in desert situations, were born with whooping cough and other coughs because of all the dust in the air. What do you think they were burning inside of all their tents? Incense, frankincense, myrrh. Why? Because you got a baby. Wah! Wah! Couple whiffs. Baby go, baby, ain't no way. So, and let's go back in time. People don't even remember that. Let's go back 1692 to 1725. You could pay your taxes in America with hemp. All of your forefathers grew hemp.
Let's bring that back, by the way.
Yeah, come on now. So they allowed us to do that. This entire nation was built on not tobacco and cotton. It was built on hemp. So, and hemp, believe me, remember, brother, you had to walk out into the woods, grab a leaf to wipe your booty. You know what I'm saying?
So there wasn't Charmin? There was no Charmin.
No Charmin. You were sleeping on the ground. They did not even have mattresses. Homie, you slept in something covering, hay and wheat that had bugs in it. So this is a hardy time. How dare we think people weren't walking around trying to figure out how to get a buzz? There was no air conditioning. There was no heat. Every bit of water that you drank was really near beer. It was you had to put alcohol in the waters that were even given to babies, because if you drank it right out of the stream, 40 feet up from you, lions, tigers, and bears just took a you-know-what in that water. And you just drank it, so what happened to your intestines?
Yes.
People don't get it. So, again, this is something that has been part of mankind and part of the United States since its inception. We're sitting here right now after 20 years of trying to figure out how to do away with prohibition. And in the last 5, I still believe we are stagnant. Especially this industry, because this industry can't get out of its own damn way.
Yeah, there's a huge obstacles. And I hope that as the FDA does look at it, and I heard you say descheduling earlier, when you think about what happened with Allegra and Zyrtec and the like, who, by the way, I would note, if you take too much of that, you're not only going to fall asleep, right? So there's some things that would actually happen to you, but they were able to deschedule those, and we should be moving in that direction. At bare minimum, having a 50% tax rate at the federal level.
Ridiculously disgusting idea that I don't know who came up with it. And people think that seems to be a viable way for an industry to grow. It's not. Again, now they got politicians thinking about, yes, let's make this bear the brunt of, our stupidity rather than take advantage of the fact that if they lowered the tax rate, you would get more taxes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'd get more, and then also you get more innovation.
Correct.
And so the other component here is that we do definitely need to, and this is fun, free market economy.
Right.
Individuals, y'all gonna have me saying some other stuff, and some folks from my party gonna say. But when it comes down to this, we should have the opportunity to actually build businesses that we're hiring people at really good rates.
Right.
We provide.
This is an essential service business. That's all.
Absolutely.
All you got to say.
Absolutely.
That was declared an essential service during some of the toughest times in the United States of America's history. They didn't shut down the dispensaries. Why? Because they knew that they would have probably had a January 6th happen all over America had you done so. So again, what do you think? We're going into election year, and I'm going to tell you something. Earlier, you had a discussion. You said to me, I know who you've been out with, and I'm so sorry. That person promised to have things corrected in this industry in the first 100 days. Did she not? I remember hearing that on, the what is it? The guy who's got that radio show, the God, excuse me. I'm just saying, if you're going to say you're going to do something, then do it. If you're not, don't step up and down the next year and try to say, when we get elected the next time in the first 100 days. No, damn it. Get it done.
Yeah.
Stop the stupidity.
I'm right there with you. And so also, let's just, from a political perspective, I think the Biden administration needs this as a shot in the arm. And so I think, as you noted, the objective is at least, as we've seen the FDA make the recommendation, to at least get to Schedule 3. And I just want to note, for all of those folks who are out there, cannabis is in the same category as heroin.
Yes.
And
no medicinal value, and a higher propensity for addiction, which is so much bullshit because the same government that makes that statement turned around in 2002, granted themselves their own patent on the viability of cannabinoids when it comes to neurological and ischemic events. So we have a government that out of two sides of his face, you do know this, every single year, when you hear all these arguments about, let's make sure we have a budget. Oh, we fight over the budget at the last minute. We fight over the budget. We fight over the budget 4 times a year. In every single budget that is passed, there is a line for the last 60 years that funds research at the University of Mississippi.
Yep.
Every congressman, every senator has supported research at the University of Mississippi for over 60 years.
Yeah.
So we're so full of shit. I'm so sorry.
Yep.
And until we get to a point where some of these old farts die off or leave office, and now the way it is now, because they make so much money, they ain't leaving until they die. So at least some of them are in that last quarter. And, I'm not pushing anybody down inside the stairs. However, it's time to move over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you still walk around and say that you believe that cannabis is a gateway drug,
gateway,
and that's coming out of the guy who's running for office right now. And I know what happened to your family, but chill out for a second, homeboy. Get some facts.
No, and that is so. And again, we have OxyContin, Percocet, Vicodin. All of those that are all legal.
And we're not arguing with anybody who may have to use them. If that's your choice, go ahead, do your thing. You love Big Pharma, go ahead.
Absolutely.
But I'm just saying that there are some alternatives to that. We now have recognized this for thousands of years. Let's catch up. So do you think it's going to happen in the next year? Put your crystal ball on, Tito. Come on.
Okay, well, I got crystal ball, and Christmas jacket. Okay.
How many years?
I think what you will see in the next 6 to 7 months is at the FDA. I believe that you would see that move forward, and the reason why is one, the political atmosphere, but two, we had the Cole memo prior. We now have the majority of states. Yes. In the United States of America,
37 in the District of Columbia,
right? And that it's legal. And by the way, this polls probably the only thing that polls better than this.
Most recent poll just finally broke over at 71% of the population believes in legal cannabis. 92+% believe in medical cannabis.
Yep.
And then if you break those things down, even within the hardest people in the Republican Party, the numbers are 56 to 60% believe in cannabis.
So no one else posed like that other than you. So therefore, we the rest of us. But again, I believe that people should definitely get behind it. The one other thing I would say to folks, if you don't see individuals and understand, we need people running at not only the federal level, but we need folks to run at the local level too, because there are cities and towns in the state of Massachusetts where it's still illegal, right? So what I would note to you, if you don't see somebody who reflects your opinions, you need to run for office. You need to step forward and actually run for office.
Yes.
And help individuals move forward.
On this issue right here alone, you need to, if you don't want to run for office, you need to just get involved.
Absolutely.
Because it's the bottom line. It's ridiculous that right now we have 38 states in the District of Columbia, and within some of the states that have passed cannabis laws, adult use laws, because there may be one municipality in a state that opted out, they are still arresting people when they drive into that municipality.
Absolutely.
Don't believe that the hype is over. Yep. They stopped arresting people, and most of the people getting arrested, clearly somewhere around 72 to 76% of them are people of color.
And
Stop it.
And we don't smoke all the weed. So I just want to let y'all know this.
No.
Okay. We don't smoke we don't smoke it all. We don't, and
we definitely
don't sell it.
We're not getting the money off
and
of
we don't
it.
sell it all.
Come
so
on.
I just want to, and with the fact that people are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
Hundreds.
Right? So we need to make sure that this becomes legal. And again, we're going to continue to connect. And also, you have shown leadership here, Montel, and we're going to continue to follow your lead in this space.
I can't thank you enough, sir. One more time, give them the digits so they know where to go.
Yes. So Apex Noire Cannabis, we at 150 State Street in beautiful downtown Boston. We are right next to Faneuil Hall. We won't go into how they got the money to buy that land, but we won't go there. We are 8 minutes from downtown Boston, 2 minutes from Quincy Market, and you can check us up online, apexnoire.com, APEXNOIRE.com.
And follow all the goings on.
Yes, and check us out on all the Instagram and all the other cool stuff that all the cool folks. Shout out to all of our staff here, and also, brother, shout out to you. There's no one more happy and more excited that I am here today than my mom's. He cursed. I didn't curse. He cursed. I just want to go on record. When you hear this, he said sugar honey iced tea.
But you know what? But Mama, he also was like, go for it. I saw that. Well, I said that. So I'm not throwing you on the bus.
See, you messing up my Christmas presents. You messing up my Christmas presents, Montel.
My friend, thank you so much for being a part of the show today, sir.
Thank you so much.
This beautiful view is because of Apex Noire. So, when you're in Boston, come on by, drive on by, check out a little Inspire product, and just check out and keep an eye on what you're doing on social media so you know whether that you participate in the comedy tour. I guess you got an underground cannelloni thing or something. What do you got? You got a food thing going on?
Oh,
too?
we're actually gonna be coming out with some products. I'm trying to grow up and be like my big brother from Freshly Baked,
gotcha.
and make some things happen. And so, really looking forward to that. And I really look forward to continuing to build this relationship. Thank you again for your service to our country, but also thank you for pushing folks. And throwing your shoulder down to make sure that this agenda continues to move forward.
Thank you, my brother, for sure. Absolutely, thank you.
We got to get you an Apex Noire jacket, though.
Got to do that. Let me get one.
We're gonna have to. What do you want? What do you want on the back? Because it's
Apex Noire.
Okay.
So you see it walking down the street.
I might have to do a Montel joint. We got Apex Noire on the front. I might have to do a Montel joint because these are varsity jackets. So we got
come on with it. I'm with you.
Okay.
I'll wear it. Believe me. Especially if I come back in here because they ain't gonna be warm here for about another 6 months. Damn, I can't do it. Make sure you continue tuning in to Let's Be Blunt with Montel. Thanks so much for being a part today. We'll catch you. Thanks for joining me on Let's Be Blunt with Montel. Please make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell to be notified when new episodes post each week. We'd love to hear your feedback also, so please send us your comments.